Hello and welcome to Screen Views. I'm Dave.
I'm James.
And this is the weekly podcast where we give our views on a film and TV show.
Each episode is unscripted, unedited, so anything can happen. Listeners should be aware that we do include spoilers, so feel free to fast forward, rewind, or simply buckle up and enjoy a somewhat coherent conversation.
Our podcast is based on the idea that there's no such thing as a bad movie. Therefore, for every review, we'll give a recommendation instead of a rating.
But first up, we're going to have a quick discussion about what we talked about last week to see if our opinions have changed. And we're back. Welcome back. It's
hello.
Hello. I kept forgetting the date. I keep thinking it's like
I have no idea what day.
Or the month is what
or
I
the month.
keep forgetting.
Right. All I know is that I'm busy.
Yeah.
And I'm tired.
Damn.
So I'm going to have to try and ramp up the energy for this one.
Well, it's officially coming up to the end of the first half of this year. And so that's what I've been. So lately, because it's the 6th of, right?
Yeah.
So officially the end of like
half a year.
Half the year.
That's crazy.
So I've been trying to work out all the stuff I've done this year. I'm going to note them all down, and hopefully next year, the second half of the year will be even better, bigger and better, and I'm going to try and compare them. But yeah, it's nice to know that, the year's ended. It's nice to know we're going for the year. I've never enjoyed Christmas, but I think I'll enjoy next Christmas. I don't know, I just have a feeling. I've never enjoyed that. I've always hated Christmas.
I'll tell you what I'm looking forward to.
What?
Special podcast Christmas episode.
Yeah.
We should do that.
Yeah. The worst Christmas movie and the best Christmas movie, maybe.
Yeah, like a mini-sode.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah.
That'll be good fun.
Yeah.
We can maybe put some jingle bells on the music as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Possibly. Debatable.
Not loving that idea?
No.
Okay. Well, anyway, it's now June and it's sunny and we're coming up to the summer, so maybe we should focus on that.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, that'd be a good thing.
Focus on well, I mean, we need to talk about Handmaid's Tale.
Handmaid's Tale, yeah. And even though they went through every season, they never really focused on something that much. Had lots of rich autumn, lots of rich winter, lots of rich. They definitely paid close attention to the seasons within the environment.
Good
but they
link
really
there,
focused,
James.
Yeah. I didn't really think they actually focused on sun that much. They focused on sun quite a lot, and especially making sort of a halo effect around the back of their head. So when the camera looked up at them and you could see under their mask, the sun will be generally behind them, and I don't know.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
So I thought that was quite
some
good.
clever shots.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the cinematography, we spoke about that last week, is very good on this show. I think. Yeah. Really well done.
I have watched one more episode. But like I say, I think what I might do with the show, I don't even know it's a really good show. I know I'm not really saying it's spoilers. What I might do is wait till the whole season's finished and then binge it. I think this show, to me, has a very binge quality to it.
Yeah, definitely,
and, Yeah, I think that's what I might do.
because you get like drawn into the intensity. Well, yeah, really good.
Well, no. Well, yes and no. But it doesn't have that much of a... I don't need to watch the next episode. I don't really. So even though I'm enjoying it in the moment, there's no desire to say, what's the next one? So
although I'm like one episode behind, and I can't wait to watch it. So like I'm technically, I'm not doing the wait and binge. I'm doing the give me more. As the minute it's released, I'm gonna watch it.
I think I've just converted because I used to watch TV all the time, and then I just started watching movies all the time, and now. Before this podcast, my TV was generally Netflix, and so generally a series released, and I watched the series, and generally it's always been like a bingey sort of.
Yeah, you've got
so maybe I'm used to that now.
Habit.
Yeah,
habitual. I mean, I think with The Handmaid's Tale, I think last week there's a lot of stuff that we didn't. It was like difficult to get everything in that makes the show, well, for me, great, and like we didn't even touch on. The sort of metaphors around slavery and how like that's can sort of work and how different people react differently to that kind of environment and and it's especially in terms of like the Janine character and then some of the other characters and how they sort of all respond slightly different to this kind of slavery aspect, and and we didn't really go into detail about the religious elements as well.
Yeah.
I know we touched on that, but there's so much to talk about with this kind of story and these themes, and so I think it's a really good show, and just like I think I could talk for days, so we might need to like move on at some point, but I think I'd just reiterate that like people should go out and watch it.
Yeah.
I was really worried that season 2 was going to take a dive a bit like Westworld, and it hasn't. It's managed to sustain it so far for me. I'll be interested to see if they can keep it going. So I'm even though I'm sort of like one episode behind at the moment, it's from what I've seen it's still, I don't think it's quite as good as the first season, but then, it's still good enough to keep you going and keep you interested, and they're doing some interesting things in the second season. So,
even though it's much better than Westworld, I have been watching Westworld.
Oh, really?
Because...
Well, past the Shogun episode?
Yeah.
Does it get better? Without giving any spoilers away?
Well, we spoke about some stuff, and then stuff happened in there, and I kept thinking back to our conversation, thinking, oh, okay. But it's actually, you don't need to have your eyes on it. You don't need to see the movements. With a Handmaid's Tale, it really deserves your whole attention, especially with how much the main actress doesn't actually do that much in terms of dialogue, but the amount of stuff she puts across during her facial accents and just the amount of it's a very visual show, and so it requires your full-time attention to it. And I've found Westworld is actually pretty good in terms of not really paying that much attention to it.
Yeah,
and
just
literally just background.
You like your background,
and literally
TV.
It's sort of it's even though I'm not seeing, I'm missing so much. I know I'm getting everything I need from it.
Yeah.
From the storyline, and so it's just
On a side note as well, Legion.
I've heard it's getting really good, or it's ended now or something, or the series ended.
I think it's taken a bit of a turn for the worse.
Oh, okay.
But maybe that's just me.
Well, I've heard of some stuff which delve more into the things in the comic books, which I really enjoy.
Oh, okay. But that's maybe the episode that I didn't like.
There's, in terms of Legion, the character is in the comic books is very is very messed up, and he has lots of different personalities. But with the TV show, we're just really following this one personality, this one character all the way through it. And there were hints of that in the first season. And I've heard there are hints of other things, other aspects of the second season.
But that,
so
yeah,
if that's the thing you're on about, then
I think from a non-comic book fan, that was a bit fan serving, because it just, the episode that I'm referring to just felt a bit bit filler. Just nothing really, not much. There wasn't much character development in it. There wasn't much moving the story forward. But it sort of makes more sense if that was to please people.
That reminds me of
from the comic book
when they did it in the first season. There's a first season where he's stuck, and then all of a sudden he's seeing more of his personality, and he doesn't. The story doesn't actually evolve that much. It sort of pauses, and so
I just think without giving too much away, the episode just wasn't. I didn't feel like I watched an episode like that in the first season.
Okay.
And so this episode really stood out for me. But I can understand why, if there's people who are fans of the comic book, might have gone crazy for that episode, because they're seeing things that they've seen in the comic book that link it together. So that sort of makes sense. Anyway, should we move on
to Safe Blood. Safe
this
Blood. Yeah.
This week.
Yeah.
Safe. So we're looking at Safe.
Yeah.
So this is available on Netflix.
Yes.
Good to do a Netflix show.
Yeah.
I feel like,
yeah. No, definitely. It's, they do provide some really good entertainment, and
obviously there are other streaming providers out there.
There are. They aren't being treated as socially in the film network. So a Netflix film which is released on Netflix cannot go up for in the Cannes Film Festival.
Oh, right, okay. That's interesting. But they can get Oscars.
Yeah, so with the Cannes Film Festival, it has to have a theoretical release.
Yeah.
Which I can understand that, but I can also...
I theoretically release films all the time in my head.
A theatrical release. But I can understand that, but also the world's changing and a lot of people aren't to get stuff in a... I mean, like I've been trying to go see... I love my indie movies and small movies and world movies, but the past 3 weeks have been so difficult to go see one because of the major blockbusters that have come out.
Yeah.
We live in London, and there aren't that many.
Yeah. On another side note, sorry, I feel like we're going on side notes now. Just perhaps a good opportunity to mention the fact that there might be a bit of a delay with our next film review.
Yes.
Just because our cinema is having some construction work.
Yeah, we
appalling.
It was terrible. Like we just heard heavy scraping and I honestly, there probably is a lot of work into the soundscape of horrors, especially that's a really important role in a horror suspense film, and it was just ruined by this constant interruption.
Yeah. So we'll get to it as soon as possible. Anyway, Safe.
Safe.
So Safe on Netflix.
Yeah. It's British.
Is it?
Yeah.
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 But the writer, this Harlan Coben, is American, isn't he?
Dexter is it's got the guy out of Dexter in.
Well, the setting is British.
But
did they actually film it in England?
Yeah.
Was it written by somebody who knows how to speak English?
Well, basically,
in terms of Queen's English,
I assumed it was going to be American.
Yeah.
So open up. I'm thinking, okay, he's in a really weird looking.
Oh right, so we're starting with the accent.
Yeah. And then we got the different actors and his best friend, he was in Hustle.
Pete.
Yeah, he's cool. I've seen him some American stuff, and he's got a British accent. Okay, that's cool. Yeah. And then he goes home to this barbecue. I don't know. I think doesn't look very American, but okay. And then some other people start talking, thinking they don't really sound that American, but okay. And they got to halfway through the film, halfway through the TV show, and thinking, this is in England. It's not America. For some reason in my head, had implanted this was going to be America. But it's British. I just assumed that it was and then I had to look him up because I weren't sure if he was doing a good English accent or not.
Is this Dexter?
Yeah.
Well, can you not? Surely you just need to listen to it to work that out.
Well, because I thought it was a weird American accent, which was very close to Britain, because I was convinced it was American, convinced that he was America.
Yeah.
And I'm wrong. This is just a part of America I've not heard yet. I don't know. But that was it's English. It's British. So you know.
So his character name is Tom Delaney. It's played by Michael C. Hall.
Yeah.
But we just call him Dexter.
Yeah.
Dexter. Because I guess that's what he's most famous for. So yeah, we were just referring to him as Dexter the whole time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I thought this was quite an interesting point of conversation actually, because Rach and I, we knew it was set in England, and that we heard about the accent before watching it, so I was sort of a bit more prepared for you in terms of hearing him attempt an English accent.
Yeah. And
that raises an interesting thing, I think, which is that we watch so many shows with British actors in America doing an American accent, and it just sort of made me think, well, do we watch stuff with those? So for us, hearing a British actor do an American accent, most of the time we're like, we don't know the difference, so we're like, oh, that, they're doing a really good job. But you wonder whether somebody from that region of America it's like cringy in the same way that we're watching this with Dexter in, and it's really cringy. Do you get what I mean? Like, because we have no idea how good the accent is. I mean, sometimes, like, Walking Dead, maybe.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. But because we don't know what it's meant to sound like, we don't know whether they're doing a good job or not.
Yeah.
So, obviously, for us, being from England, Britain, we know that Dexter's accent is a little bit ropey.
Yeah.
But do we quite naively watch stuff with British actors doing an American accent all the time and just think that they're fine and they're not?
Possibly, although I think in terms of I did some research on there was a breakdown of British people playing American accents and American people playing British accents, and they mentioned safe in this, and they talked about the actual acting, in terms of professional acting and the acting process. British actors are generally more trained in accents than American actors are. American actors are far less likely to play a British role than a British actor is to play an American role.
Right.
There's more media set in America than there is set in England. So it's more of a skill resource for a British person to master an American accent than it is for an American person to master a British accent.
Yeah.
Which is I thought was kind of interesting and kind of sort of like...
But yeah, I mean, like... Yeah, sorry, go on.
Because it's a classic trope of like even Americans understand the classic trope of how bad some American people are at British accents. It's a classic of like, oh my god.
Yeah.
But then it's also known in the media of like how amazing British actors are. I mean, like Idris Elba and Andrew, the guy who's in Walking Dead, I can't remember his name. They're the two main ones which trick Americans completely. Like Americans, I've heard so many times that Americans are so shocked that they didn't realize that this person was British at all. They've not converted over to America, so whenever they sound cut, they go onto their British accent. All the cast and crew know them as British.
Yeah, but
the world knows them as an American.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. Yeah, okay, so maybe I can feel a bit more reassured that. Yeah. That's the thing. But I think the interesting thing is, like, at the end of the day, why did his character need to be British? Is it, I'm assuming they did that because in the novel he's British, but like, there wasn't any reason, like, they could have quite easily, like, 1-2 line of dialogue, like, explained. Or they didn't even need to explain it, that he was an American who's moved over to England and married a British girl. Like,
I do mind that. And in terms of his accent, I thought he was actually pretty good. I think
really,
yeah. In terms of, I think the issue with it is that, like, the issues with his accent is that there's an element of badness in every line of dialogue.
Well, yeah, so I mean, this is another point that we need to move on to.
It's like if someone does like a bad Australian accent, but it's only end of the word. Do you know how Australians have like this different like tonal at the end of the word? It's like if someone messed up that.
Yeah, they sound like they're asking a question because their intonation goes up.
Yeah, so I think with his accent, I think consistently, I was drawn out of it because he can't get it all the way right.
Yeah,
but I didn't mind the amount of I don't know. I don't know.
Did you just forgive him a lot because he's Dexter?
I forgave him like, yeah, it's scary because they're gay. I think there are worse parts about his character than.
Yeah, but what we do have to talk about here is it wasn't, for me, it wasn't just about the accent. It was also the inability to write dialogue that sounded English.
Yeah.
So this was another issue. A massive issue with this program was that the turn of phrase was like somebody who thinks that they know how British people talk, but they hadn't done the research to find out whether that's correct or not.
Yeah.
So there was just like quite often these turns of phrases that just didn't sit right, and they just sounded odd. So, for example, there's one point where he's talking to somebody about how he watched his wife shrivel up and die, and it's just not. You wouldn't. I don't think you would say that in that context. And so it's almost like somebody was writing it as if they'd heard like British phrases here and there, and they were just sort of peppering it into the script, but not really knowing like why they're doing it or what it really sort of means in English. It just, it was, sorry.
I found it, because they tried to do so much within it, when I appreciate them trying to do so much within the show, but I just felt like the dialogue dynamic between the daughter and Dexter, it was awful. That was the foundation of the show. You've got him trying to talk to her at the funeral. She's like, "God, don't talk to me." And then you've got a flashback of like, "Oh, you going out?" "Yeah, I'm going out." And that's the foundation of their relationship. And that's what we've got to. I don't know. You either don't have the foundation at all.
Yeah, but
or you include or you have a good foundation in terms of their personalities and I know they want to keep a lot back because of like, the terrible secret and the terrible like what happened on the night she died.
I think is that supposed to be like the contention between the two posts, because he wasn't there on the night that the mum died because he was off getting drunk and sleeping with the cop. So there was this whole idea that she was really hated him for that, and their relationship was fractured from that key event. And I think what's interesting about this show is that like quite often I'll be speaking to yourself or like Rach or somebody about it, and the conversation won't be about, oh well, this was good. It'll be like, this happened and I've got issues with this, and then I have to you have to both try and work it out like we've done there, and it's like that shouldn't be the conversation. The conversation shouldn't be like, but what was this all about? And then the other person's going, well, I think it's about this. And like, this show is like a very odd thing to sort of put my finger on, but we'll come to that later, maybe.
Yeah. Well, my mum said she watched it and she really enjoyed it, and I was like, how did? And I realised that we both watched it in two completely different ways. She watched it on a week-to-week basis, and I binged it. One of the issues I have with it is the amount of last-minute questions they bring up at the end of the episode, and how the next episode is all about, well, basically that was just a red herring. That's nothing.
Really?
But this is the new thing. And it's like, but yeah, that's nothing. No, this is the new thing. It's
but again, like, you sort of say that, but one of my issues with the show was that how nothing was a red herring, and like everything was like had some sort of connection to the events, and then Chris Chahal, whose surname we have to say every time we mention him. He's the character that died in the pool. Spoiler alert.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So you notice that like somebody should do a tally of every time somebody says his full name, because the amount of times his name was said in full throughout the whole show was like fascinating. Anyway, that's a side point to my point, which is that nothing in this show was a red herring. Everything was relevant and everything had a connection. But there's some things that just people didn't care about that they should have cared about. And it was that thing where it's like, well, they'd be like walking down the corridor. Oh, what's that about? Oh, there was a fire a few years ago. Some students died, and sorry, I'm trying to get like about 5 points out at once. But so that really annoyed me that every single that should be like just something that you think, oh, is that going to be a big point, or is it completely irrelevant to the storyline that we're kind of watching?
Yeah.
And I sort of feel like this show was kind of like, well, this person's written this novel. I've not read the book, but we're going to turn it into a TV series, and we're going to do Broadchurch, and we're going to do Happy Valley, and it's going to be awesome. But what is interesting about those shows is they sort of, they weave those kind of additional character stories in here and there, and ultimately some of them are relevant and some of them aren't.
Yeah.
But every single story in this, name a storyline that wasn't somehow sort of relevant, other than maybe the cop and the dad, like Pete storyline.
I suppose what rather than everything retiring, it's sort of like everything you thought was the main thing to draw the story on became, oh no, well actually there's a somewhat logical reason for that. We'll then go into this. Like, oh well, there might be a somewhat logical reason for this, then we'll go for this. Sort of like the guys at the grave at the beginning of the pod, at the beginning of the at the end of the first episode or the second episode. I was like, oh, what's he doing now? And then we find out, oh, they used to go out, and they go, okay, we won't investigate this any further. Okay, cool. Well, then we'll look into this, and oh my God, what are you doing there? Like, oh, we're not there for this reason. Oh, okay, cool. Okay, we'll still investigate, and we'll find out there's never
right. Yeah,
and so it just became like,
well, yeah, it's like things just got brushed off.
Yeah,
like
they never built on the tension that they built on the cliffhanger.
Yeah, well, or the like cliffhanger was something like really, really like important, like this teacher is sleeping with their student, and then the start of the next episode, no one cares. It's like, oh, big reveal, she's like actually sleeping with the student, and then everybody's like, oh yeah, if I was his age, I'd be well chuffed. And it's like, hang on, we've just found out that a teacher is sleeping with a student. This is a massive safeguarding issue, people. Like, do we not need to do something about this? Do we not need to contact the school? Do we need to get the headmaster involved? Who, by the way, is like no longer seen as a character after he'd found the note in the locker or been phoned about it or whatever. It's like, why did nobody care? Like, literally none of the characters cared that this teacher was sleeping with a student.
And it just seemed like it was all forgiven at the end.
Yeah,
there's no repercussions whatsoever.
Right? Yeah, it's like what the.
It's also the mystery about who put the USB in the locker. Like, it's like, well, clearly he did. Like, okay. That, although we should actually talk about positives if you have any.
Well, I mean, I know our sort of remit is that there's no such thing as a bad TV show or film. This for me is
if you're going to break that rule,
is sort of testing the limits. The one positive that I can say about this show is that it's oddly quite compelling. Like I found myself, I got through it quite quickly. I kind of wanted to know what was going on next, but I don't. Well, I think it's because it, like, I don't know. It got to one point where I was like sort of saying, like, I wouldn't be surprised if the whole, it was like the whole Jasmine Hall thing. It was actually him that's in Jasmine Hall, and everything that we were seeing was just part of his crazy reality, and it was essentially all just sort of a dream. It got that ridiculous that was like, for me, a legitimate sort of storyline that could have come to light. So I think the one positive that I would say about this show is that it's oddly compelling. And I say oddly because it's not necessarily compelling because it's good. It's sort of compelling because it's like, well, how ridiculous can this show get?
Yeah.
But also, like, I sort of, because it's got that potential, I kind of want to see this out. I want to see what happens next.
In terms I do have a positive.
Okay.
Quite a big positive.
All right. Okay, go on then.
So you may not agree with it whatsoever. I have a feeling you might not. In terms of the casting, and in terms of most of the dialogue, and every time these people are on screen, I'd really enjoy it. It's the Marshall family. So you got the guy who was in Four Lions. Four Lions is an amazing comedy. It introduces 4 actors which I've never really seen before.
Right.
And they brought them into light. And I've seen 3 of them do stuff, but I've not seen Nigel Lindsay in anything.
I've forgotten about those. Which family is this actually?
Yes. The daughter has a party, which is a capitalist.
Yes, yeah.
I thought the dialogue of that family was really well. I thought the actual dynamics between the characters of the daughter is a really good mashup between the characters of the father and the mother. And I thought, actually, in terms of if I was going to compliment any writing in the show, it would be this. The daughter has sort of, I don't know, you just look at the aspects of the wife, the mother and the father, and the daughter. It's a composite of both of them. It's sort of like, I don't know. It was the only characters which I liked, and every time they're on screen, I thought like, I'm enjoying this. And even when I know it had an element of comedy to it, but even I don't know, just there's no point where they're on screen where I thought I'm not enjoying this.
Yeah.
And like,
okay. Yeah. Sorry.
And I thought the daughter was acting really, really well. I know she hasn't had that many roles. I've only seen her one thing before.
Right.
Yeah. And so that I wasn't really impressed by that much in the story, but I'm impressed by that. I don't know, mainly because they knew what they were doing, and
did they? Who like? Do you mean the writers or the family?
I mean, their characters were the most consistent in terms of, because I just felt like the characters have kept on changing throughout this whole thing. Like his best friend is sort of like, oh, he's got secrets, and like he's got lots of like, you don't know what he's doing. He's sneaking around, and then and his character changes loads, and every single character seems to change loads. When their characters, the characters they are at the beginning, are very similar to the characters they are at the end. They don't really change that much, and I know that one consistency of like, this like I say, the show just went back and forth. They didn't really go back and forth. I know it was just an anchor within the show,
right?
And I guess I appreciated.
Yeah, but I think for me, it sort of annoyed me because I was like, "What are they trying? Is this? Am I meant to laugh at this?" Like I couldn't work out. Yeah, but I didn't quite get it. I was like, "Am I meant to be laughing at them? Am I meant to be laughing with them? Like what was going on?" I don't know. I didn't. I just. I wasn't convinced. Oh, sorry. I was just like, I know what you mean. Though actually, the guy who played the dad is very good, and I remember the character who you mean in Four Lions now, and he, I mean, out of all the characters in the show, he was probably, came out, okay out of this. I think for me. Yeah, I mean, I know what you mean about the sort of Pete Mayfield character and his sort of storyline. I mean, I don't even like. Well, because I don't know. Like
at the end of each episode, there was like a cliffhanger. What's this character doing now? What's this character doing now? And he just didn't do it with that family. It's just like simple. It's like, and every now and again we will go back to them, and it's fine. It's just, you know what? It just didn't wind me up.
Yeah. I think it
amazed me. It just didn't. It's the fact that it didn't wind me up. It's like one of the only characters, one of the only family characters, like units that didn't wind me up whatsoever.
Okay, yeah.
Because
unfortunately, they wound me up a little bit because I didn't know, because it was such a break from the rest of the show. Like everything's like like secrets, dark, and then it was like, oh, are they just the comedy is this comedy? Am I meant, am I what is going on here? And I felt like at times this show really didn't know what it was trying to be. Like the bit in 1 minute, it's sort of just a normal thriller, and then the next minute, there's a horror noise, and it's like the thing. Like, I'm walking down the allotment because I want to get away from the vigil that's going on for my dead son. So I'm going to walk down the allotment. Horror noise. Suddenly there's mist, and then I'm going to walk towards the noise into the woods, and there's creepy things happening, and then it's like, oh no, I'm fine. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm safe. And it's like, what? Why were we suddenly in like a horror movie for like a minute and then not? And it's like, it was almost like, ta-da, the end reveal, like, this is why this happened. It just wasn't a big enough payoff with a lot of the stuff. And flashbacks, I feel like we need to talk about flashbacks at some point.
So every start of the episode we see like something slightly more but still irrelevant.
Yeah. Or just exactly the same. You know how like a show like Legion, you see a flashback but it's from a different angle, or the characters are watching themselves in something that we've seen before but they're in the frame, so it's the same flashback but it's interesting because they're we're seeing it from a different angle or a different perspective, or you're seeing slightly different reactions to what you saw before. And to be fair, they did sort of do this in the later episodes, but at the start the flashbacks were just like, we're seeing exactly the same scene and conversation that we saw in the previous episode. And I was just like, that is really poor. That sort of, for me, that's like student filmmaking. I didn't film this scene from multiple different angles, so I'm just going to insert the same cut that I used in the previous episode in this episode because I haven't got the coverage. So what are you doing? You if you're going to do that kind of storytelling, you need to add something to what we're seeing. So so the example that I'm talking about is when so Tom Delaney, Dexter, is talking to the family and he's asking if they've seen Chris Chahal, which we have to say in full. And they, at that point, the first time we see it, we think that they don't know anything. Like the parents are unaware that the daughter has covered something up. But then it's revealed that they do know and they've helped her. And then we see that scene again in the hallway where he's asking about it. But it's exactly, his cut and it's exactly the same. It's not like we're seeing more interesting reactions from the dad and the mum, because we as the audience now know that those looks to each other suggest that they know, and we didn't pick up on that on the first time. It's like, no, it's exactly the same. And like, it's just
it's also when you saw Chris in the freezer for the first time, because his beard sort of froze on a little bit, he looked like the drug dealer.
I kept getting confused. I was like, is that the drug dealer? I was like, that confused me as well.
So then I was thinking, so there's 3 people missing, not 2 people. And then, like just the son friend suddenly has like a T-shirt with blood in it, so he'll hide it at the back of the wardrobe. And his cop mother says, like, what's this blood for? Oh, we got in a fight. And then I hid it at the back of my wardrobe. Then I asked you to go in my room and find a certain top because I want a certain top. I'm gonna rip it. It became like, so you're gonna plant something which is like, mysterious, and he wants to hide it. No, he just put it in a plastic bag and put it just to move the plot along. There's no other reason why you'll do that. And like CCTV in the area, if they can get access to CCTV in the area, and you found out the daughter went to a certain house, he says, well, no, she just went round the back of my house. Okay. And then you go to the first house again and say, well, apparently she was here. Well, she wasn't here. Okay, let's go back to the CCTV then. Skip about half an hour. We should be able to see her. If you looked at CCTV of that night, because she's in that area. The whole point of it is that it's closed up. It's safe. It's all in one closed area. She kept looking at CCTV.
Oh, yeah. This whole thing about it's not what you keep out, it's what you're keeping in. Ooh, what's that about? Oh, there's the monsters inside. It was just no, it was just like, like you say, it's like basic CCTV. And this is the other thing. It's like there's this guy running around, like basically Tom is just like playing policeman all the time, and it's like he's always like one step ahead of the police. And I suppose with the big reveal at the end, you could argue, well, that kind of makes sense because she was trying to like sort of pervert the course of justice, but even then, if she could pin this thing on somebody else, like, surely she'd be looking into the stuff. Like, like, and at no point, even they sort of found out that he was like perverting the course of justice, and they didn't stop him. Yeah, it's like, why? He was doing all of this stuff and never getting arrested, and it's like, just don't do it anymore. Yeah. Just let us do the policing. It's like, no, like. Well, no, surely there needs to be like
even like starts having a couple where the blonde police officer say, do you want me to take her son into questioning? I'll question him for you. Sort of like put him in your place. I don't know. It just
and then like I've got some I don't know. I've got a list of points that I'm trying to get through, and I'm just trying to read them as I'm sort of arming it. And
why was his neighbour going to that pub which his daughter went to look for that guy who used to go out with his mum?
You've lost me. Hang on.
So I don't know where they go to. I think might be somewhere in London or somewhere in Manchester. In the city
Heaven.
Centre. Yeah, Heaven.
Yeah.
Why does the neighbour go to that place?
The neighbour. Oh, this is Eric, the old guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. This is good because this kind of links into my massive point about this show, which is going to blow your mind, James. Why did he go to the bar?
Yeah.
That is a good question. Why did he go to the bar?
Why go all the way out to that bar?
Well, because he knew about the owner and he knew about the fire, didn't he?
Yeah.
And there was a sort of suspicion that they were somehow in cahoots, wasn't there?
Was there?
Yeah. Because at that point, they knew that the owner, I can't remember his name, was sort of... They knew that he was involved somehow.
Yeah.
But they didn't quite know how. And then Eric came to the bar and gave a note, or was given a note. And so we knew that something was sort of going on. And then he sort of led them from there to Jasmine Hall. Yeah. But even then, it's like, to get to that... once he was in the bar, so I'm assuming he was there because he knew about the fire, he knew about who was involved in the fire, and supposedly, and in the bar that's when they hid the phone in his pocket, didn't they?
Yeah.
It was like, if somebody puts a phone in your pocket, in your jacket pocket, you feel it straight away because the weight of your pocket just like gets really, really heavy. So that was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then the massive plot sort of hole in this whole sort of, I don't know, like
shambles.
Show. Yeah, shambles of a TV show. I was watching this and I was thinking, this is the kind of show that I would see if I gave students a massive budget and went, go off and make a show. I felt like this is what I would end up with, like, and that's, I think that's if they came up with this, that would be a very good job.
Yeah, they worked really hard.
And you'd say, well done. Yeah. Like, this is for your level. This is amazing.
Yeah,
but it felt like I really did want to know who was sort of behind this, because it sort of felt like, hey, I've got loads of money, I'm going to make a show, and everything that in the show is going to have a point. Right, so the old guy, Eric, he was the father of the son who was involved in the fire.
The only boy to go back and try and save the other students. Yeah.
So, but at one point there was so there's a couple of things here.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. So, so the dad, Eric, the old guy, he knows about the fire.
Yeah.
He knows who was involved in the fire, who caused the fire. Yeah?
No, one second, the dad. Oh, yeah, sorry, the old guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not talking about Dexter. Yeah, so.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So not Dexter, Eric, he's called.
Well, we assume he knows who's in it, yeah.
No, we do know, because he tells us the whole story.
Oh, he tells us there's one more person.
No, but no, he explains the whole story to us. Yeah. He's the person with the missing piece of the jigsaw that they couldn't work out, because his son's in Jasmine Hall.
Yeah.
And that explains why Tom Delaney's wife went there so many times to see his son.
Yeah.
And he tells us who was involved, what happened on the night, how it happened, and in particular how his son was different from the others and went back into the fire. Right, so he knew who was involved, but his son was scarred from it. He'd never spoken since. And yet, somehow this was a massive cover-up. So, my question is, or it's not really a question, because I'll probably answer it myself, but the point is, A, how did he know about the whole event, other than what was reported in the paper, because his son hadn't spoken since?
Pictionary?
Possibly. And then B, why had he not reported the truth? The only thing that I could think of was that it kind of would have made sense if he was the killer in the end of it, because if he knew who was involved, how they were involved, and why, I don't know why. The only thing that I could think of was that he didn't report it to the police because his son was presented as a hero in the events. Yeah. Because the paper didn't know that his son was involved in causing the fire in the first place. So he was the hero that had gone back in to save the children. And if that's what the dad was like clutching at to try and it would have
also
if that
how's
was,
he getting his care paid for?
But what?
How's he getting his care paid for?
I don't know. Let's
say he lose the grant if they find out that he was actually.
Well, the inner workings of Jasmine Hall weren't explained. But if they had been explained in that way, all the more motivation for him to be the killer, because he would want to keep his son's image as a hero, keep the secret, and by Chris Chahal revealing the secret, he's got more to lose there. Yeah. But it was kind of like, well, how's he there was no explanation as to why he hadn't gone to the police, and it just didn't it was for me that was a massive sort of key moment where it's like that actually could have been quite interesting, because you wouldn't have seen it coming. Yeah, it would have it was all sort of leading towards being the police woman. Even with the sort of jewellery, it might have been something that we assume that a woman would wear, but it turns out that it's something that he was wearing, and it would have sort of flipped your whole sort of perception on its head, and then but but it's not really fully explained. How he knows about the events, because his son's not spoken about it. But also, B, why was he keeping it a secret? Like those key answers, by making him the person in the know of all of this.
Yeah.
Those key answers were not addressed, and that for me was a massive issue.
It's also, I like the tech guy working out of the cubicle and toilet. It's like, I need tech support now. Tell me where she's. Tell me where she is. Oh, well, I can recognize this IP address from my mind. I remember this IP. I've seen many IP addresses in my lifetime, but I'll know what this IP address.
This was a special IP.
Oh, what is it? What is it? It's your IP address. She's not in the house. Well, go out outside the house when you see no bars.
Wi-Fi's got a range, guy.
Yeah. And it was just like, there's that moment the house was on fire, and they don't explain why all of a sudden the house goes on fire. Why that moment everything goes crazy. That's just a weird coincidence, because it's just like, because she just genuinely messages back, don't she, to her sister. I don't know, it wasn't like a...
Oh, I don't know. Yeah,
it was just
some sort of...
a weird... So he finds out she's next door, and then he goes next door. And so, like, a few moments from her sending a message, someone's dead, a fire's been...
Yeah, all kicks off.
And then she's ran off. But the tracker guy can still find out where she is.
Yeah. Again, all the more reason if Eric was trying to cover stuff up, all the more reason for him to be like, oh, he's running away from the house, go get him. It's like, I don't know. And another massive plot flaw was that, the Heaven guy, what was he called? Robbie? Was he called Robbie?
Yeah, I think so.
So he had this girl captured for like a few days, and then suddenly when Sophie the cop rings, suddenly he's then like, right, we've got to kill her now.
Yeah,
it's like he's already killed like some people in a fire, he's burnt down a house and killed somebody else before starting the fire, and then he's like, oh no, I'll just wait a few days to kill this one person that can like ruin my whole life. I'll just keep her around for a few days. And like, I mean, again, it's just like, explain it. Like, tell us why he hasn't killed her yet. Is it because she looks so much like her mum that everybody keeps saying and he can't bring himself to do it? Yeah. And he needs somebody else to do it for him. And then there's a big dramatic moment where he's like shouting at the cop he's like saying, you've got to do it, I can't do it. And then she's like trying to hide that she can't do it, but she kind of wants to do it. And, like, just tweak it like a little bit, and you can make it like a little bit more interesting. But it was like, oh no, I'll just keep her around for a few days in my apartment where there's probably CCTV footage of him going in and out of the building or her coming into the building at some point. Yeah. So it's like, what are you doing? Like, how? Because at one point she was like asleep in the bar at like in one of the back rooms of the bar, it sort of seemed. And then suddenly she was at his apartment, and
the first time she's sitting, you see her and you see him, and then you see her, and she's just sitting down on the sofa like she just had a cup of tea and a biscuit.
Yeah,
like all happy as Larry.
Yeah. Like, and it looked like they were watching something.
Then the next
you were like, oh, is that
asleep.
The CCTV thing from the fire that they were watching? And but no, I think like you say, she didn't look like somebody who was.
Well, he didn't know where the tape is, so.
But is that why?
Yeah.
But like,
does anyone see it? Where is the tape? Then that's not really real. Oh, it's safe. We won't tell anybody. And where is the tape? Where'd you hide it?
Like, because he didn't find it at the because he ransacked the Chahals when he went in.
And Dexter, he's looked everywhere for everything in his house, so he would have found this tape. So where's the tape? It's safe.
Explain?
I think so.
The whole like crucial thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, but the whole like in terms of the flashback scene and in terms of like being pointless, in terms of the night the mum died.
Mm.
We got a little bit more every time we go into the scene, and then we find out that he was just kissing somebody, and it just wasn't.
Yeah.
It just wasn't enough. You talk about this really dark secret and really dark.
Yeah, but you sort of knew that. I kind of knew that's where it was going, and I was like, it wasn't that sort of interesting, or emotional. Yeah. Did you like how the characters commented on directions? You know, when you're like, when we're watching a car chase, we had to sort of like hear where the person that they were following was going all the time.
Oh yeah, just taking a right.
Yeah, it's turning right.
Yeah.
Oh, it's speeding up. It's slowing down. It's like we can see that.
Yeah.
You were showing us that visually. You don't need is that what every I suppose they need to. I suppose in a car chase you would. You know, when police are chasing somebody, they need to communicate where the turnings are going because they're normally doing that because there's more than one unit.
Distance,
Whereas it just, I don't know, it just it just felt like every I don't know, it just felt a bit weird, that commenting. Now I say it out loud, it just doesn't sound as weird, but when I was watching it, maybe it's just the way that they talk that I found humorous, but it's just the
other kids. So basically the copper's daughter was only there to keep Dexter's daughter busy. That's the only oh hey, come around my house and come around my house and do this. That's the only thing that daughter has. Dexter's daughter, I'm not going to keep calling Dexter. Dexter's daughter.
Tom Delaney.
Tom Delaney's daughter, and the other daughter, the younger daughter, was you're not really showing me a connection between. I don't think you really can. And he goes off looking for her because she'll probably be at the gallery where she always goes, or where your wife always went. You guys know my wife better than I knew my wife, and it's just I didn't believe. I didn't believe any of his core emotions.
Yeah.
So I think,
and there was this whole backstory of them being in the army as well. And I was thinking at some point when are the skills gonna become sort of relevant? You know, Taken, it's I've got skills, I'm gonna mess you up, don't you fucking pretend that you're gonna get away with this. And you know, in this it was we were in the army, we were buddies in the army, we were in the army, a fight comes along, what's gonna happen? I'm just gonna get stabbed. Just gonna get stabbed. I've got no combat skills here whatsoever. I'll just fall over and get stabbed. And then, you know, I kept thinking when you know, is you know, and they're going to be able to track somebody in a way that the police can't because they've been in the army. There's all this talk about army, and then every situation that they got in, they were completely useless.
Well, I forgot about it, and then I watched the trailer for Safe this morning. And
right.
I was heavy and this reminds you of being in the army. Does it?
It's just
it's how?
But also, what did you do in the army? Really, even if you're a medic in the army, because they both did medical stuff, you'd still have basic training. You would have thought, they'd have to do some sort of combat. You would have. I would have thought maybe I need to find out, but I'm pretty sure that hand-to-hand combat might be something. In basic training, surely, you would have an advantage over three sort of youths.
It's also the fact that he didn't tell Tom Delaney that he dropped his daughter off because his daughter made him promise. I'm thinking she's lost. She could be dead. Just tell him, man. I can understand. I can sort of understand that if she was fine the next day, and if this was a couple of days ago, and he's investigating what happened in the last week, and then you found out that actually he's been meeting up with her. I can fully understand. You know what, mate? I didn't think to tell you about it because it was a couple of days ago. It's not related to when she went missing, but you know he's investigating. You know he's. I don't know. That annoyed me a little bit.
And it's just you talking there, reminding me about the whole because she took the moped and parked it up at the station.
Yeah.
And so there was a couple of bits in that. If you're investigating a crime in a small town where somebody's gone missing, as the police, surely one of the first things you do is like check the main train line out of the like place to get other, like, that's one of your first point of calls. That's and like checking CCTV to see if they've gone on to A roads or whatever. So that to me like seems like a pretty reasonable sort of immediate check. Yet somehow Tom Delaney knew that would be something better to do than the police. And not only that, but then he thinks that if he goes to a train station early morning after an event, somebody's going to recognise. It's like, have you seen this girl? Have you seen this girl? And
I think you've just arrived here, but have you seen it?
Like, you've just come here for your Monday commute. This girl went missing on Saturday night. Did you see her? Have you seen her? I suppose it was probably trying to get across that kind of small town thing. But like somebody might be like, yeah, I saw her in the shops like 3 days ago in the centre of town. Yeah, that's, and it's like, why would somebody at the train station be there the same day after a late...
But they could even just like talk to like a member of staff at the train station would have helped a little bit.
Yeah, that would have made more sense. A member of staff, like, did you see this girl? Can you check to see if she was here? Like, that sort of conversation might make a bit more sense. But asking randos on the platform, like, have you seen, like, it's like, I don't know. It's like, I mean, it just got silly. But like I say, it's like oddly compelling at the same time.
It's although I didn't realise how much it annoyed me until I'm now dissecting it.
Debriefing. So it's good to get. It's like a sort of form of therapy.
What else
to get this show out of your system? I know this is helping me.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just. I also think it was very damaging the fact that we have had such good investigative storytelling lately.
Well, like I say, like. I mean, so maybe we can move into the recommendation part, because my immediate thing would be like, well, I can see what they were trying to do with this show, which is that they were trying to sort of replicate that Happy Valley, Broadchurch style, especially Broadchurch, where everybody's got a bit of a mystery, all the characters, small town, all the characters have got something to reveal. But my recommendation would be, if you haven't seen Broadchurch and Happy Valley especially, go out and watch Broadchurch and Happy Valley, because they do this so much better. Maybe not consistently across every single season, but certainly the first season for both of those shows was so strong. For me, Happy Valley is one of the best things out there on TV. I love that show so much. And hopefully there'll be another season at some point, so we can maybe do a review on that. But
I've heard
well,
David but then I'm like, I was thinking of giving up on me. That's like, well, I give up.
It's like I'm sort of used to it now, James, as well, because of the Game of Thrones thing. So,
well, I heard it's good.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I've forgotten what I was going to say. So yeah, my recommendation would be if you've seen those shows and you want something like those, but you're okay with it being not as good, then this is kind of a show for you, I guess.
Yeah.
I think it's also quite mindless as well. Yeah. If you don't want to think too much, if you want to be you want a bit of a mystery, but you want something to talk you through each of the points in a very expositional way, like they do with the chasing directions.
I would say this is a good background show, even if you're doing hoovering up, because you can miss out 5 to 10 minutes of dialogue on any episode and still be able to pick it up and not really lose anything, because everything's important. Nothing becomes important because everything's everything's connected. Yeah, which means either everything's dramatically important or it's all nothing. It's
all kind of not until the big reveal at the end. Yeah.
So if you're doing a good spring clean, you sort out your CD collection. If you have CDs,
alphabet sizing.
Yeah. If
that's such like a 90s like thing to do. Do people do that anymore? And making playlists on Spotify, we should say.
With my DVDs, I used to do it in order of date it was released, and then I used to do it in my favourites and not so favourites, and then I used to do it in terms of like the genres, and like every now and again it used to all completely change.
Yeah. It's the fun.
I tell a lie. That was with my videos.
VHS. That's how old we are. Yeah.
But yeah, if you got like lots, if you got it in the background, you do like Broadchurch, but you don't really have the time to really sit down and really be emotionally connected to a show, then by all means, this is a good alternative if you're.
Quite mindless, I think.
It's very consistent.
Paint by numbers.
So many shows are really good at the beginning and then trail off, and then you hear about so many shows which are like, oh, you just have to get through the first couple of episodes and then it picks up. Not this show. It's very consistent.
It's terrible from start to finish.
Yeah. And
well, it's not terrible. To be fair, there it is. Like I say, you will if you've not seen it, and I mean, this is kind of pointless, like our whole talking to people as if they haven't seen it, because most of the people listening to this probably have seen it already. Yeah. So, but I think in trying to sort of explain it, it's like I've lost my point. But what was I saying? I don't know. My mind's just gone blank. Sorry, James.
It's all right.
Oh, geez, what? What was I saying? James, help me here.
I don't know. We could pause the podcast and go back, but I'm not sure.
We might have to.
Ooh, okay. I just found out something.
Okay.
So, shall we go to what I found out?
Yeah, go on, because that was like. So I really did lose my train of thought there.
The guy. So there's a boy, who is I can't remember which character he was in the show.
Oh.
He was going out
he was
with,
the one that slept with the mum.
Yeah. He is Voldemort in one of the Harry Potter films, one of the flashback
films. Right.
But yeah, not really that great of a sort of like that scene of is Voldemort. But in terms of like Emmett J. Scanlan, he doesn't have that much to do in the show.
And he plays Josh Mason, the drunk Irish.
Yeah, drunk Irish person.
Ex-husband.
However, I know he's a very good actor. And then you've also got Mark.
He's actually really good Warren. In it. Yeah, to be fair, some of the actors in it are quite good.
Yeah.
And then
it's a shame.
Amanda Abington, where you're just going to go down the Sherlock.
Yeah. Well, I've always liked her. Like,
we had that thing of like, who is she?
Oh,
and then Rach was like, she's in Sherlock. I was like, oh yeah, that's no.
I saw her in a film with Martin Freeman called A Good Night.
Right.
I love that film. Such an underrated, under the bar film.
Yeah.
She's only a tiny role in that, but that's when I first noticed her.
Yeah.
Gwyneth Paltrow and Martin Freeman. That's also A Good Night. I do recommend it. Well, I don't recommend this show.
It's safe, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, safe is not safe. It's slightly undersafe. It's not a safe bet to go for. It's don't be fooled by that.
Well, I mean, if you've got this far into our podcast and you haven't seen this show, I think you probably won't go and see it.
Yeah, I mean,
I think
we haven't even.
Sorry, go on.
We haven't really spoiled that. Oh yeah, we have really. We spoiled all of it, really, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean the big reveal. We've told you who it's not and who it should be, which is Eric.
Well, I was going to Broadchurch sort of like storyline, thinking. So who have we seen? Who have we seen consistently throughout the first 2 episodes, but haven't really been focusing on at all? Because I'm thinking, okay, the copper's boyfriend. How about the girl is actually right outside her house the whole time?
Yeah.
And then they go to storyline where they go into her barrel. They go into his caravan and there's this girl clothes left. Thinking, I knew it, but we're only in episode 5. I mean, so this can't be it.
Yeah, this is the thing. Like at one point, it was like planted that like, oh, do we know that your daughter is this angel that you sort of think that she is? And you're sort of thinking, well, so again, it would have made it more interesting if she'd like got into an argument with him, and like, and the whole thing was not connected. Like the whole time we were assuming it was connected to the fact that he thought that, you know, we thought that he was going to be killed because he was revealing the CCTV, and it turned out that it just wasn't about that, and it was about like a drug deal, or you know, or it was an accidental with the girlfriend. They had an argument and something went wrong. Just like, I mean, I just didn't get the whole sort of big reveal at the end with Sophie. It just didn't. I don't know. It just didn't like really.
Any of the reveals in terms of like, oh yeah, I met a girl. I'm helping her out. She's sleeping there. I'm sleeping in the van. So like we have not seen this girl. We're not. That's okay. All right. Okay. That's another thing we'll cross off the list. That's not a big point you've made, which hasn't done anything. Yeah, I saw her. Said hello. She's hello. That's it. Okay. We'll cross that off. It's not important then. Like, yeah, she came round. I told her to go away. She went round the back. Okay, cool. We'll just cross that. We'll just cross that off. Yeah, she might have been a bad garden, but really, see, she must have gone that further. Oh, okay. All right. We'll just cross that off. I know. It just seems like
it's like everyone's got a secret, but we assume what they're telling us is the honest truth.
Yeah.
That was like apart from the dodgy bar owner. Oh, he didn't tell us the truth. Oh my God, we've got to go back.
Why was she like keeping so quiet for a couple of days? And also, you went back and you saw her flashback,
right? Yeah.
And you're thinking, then she found out her boyfriend's. Why is she hiding? There's absolutely no reason to hide. What's she hiding from? She went to visit a man. The man wasn't there.
Well, I assume she thought that somebody was after her once she found out that he was killed, because they had the CCTV tape and they were going to reveal.
She was already hiding out at that next door neighbour's place.
Yeah.
When she found out that the boyfriend was killed.
Yeah.
Why are you hiding?
A lot of it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like, also, if you knew, like, I didn't quite understand why they were going to the heaven. Why she was so hell bent on going to the heaven.
Yeah. What information do you want to get? And also, why aren't you talking to your dad? I get that you're upset that she's, but
also, I don't know about you, but if like I want to do something with somebody and then they get wasted, and then you're like, and it's not going to happen, that thing that you arranged, do you go off and do it by your own? Yeah, or do you just go, I'll go tomorrow?
You didn't know if he's going to even be there that night. He's like, not like. He could not be.
Well, that's the other thing as well. Just turn up at a bar and say, is the owner here? Yeah. Probably not, because the owner
wasn't there. Was
no.
She was messing out, and like, just call next time. Like, hey, how you doing? I was gonna come down and have this whole thing, but I'd call you up. And
I'm gonna leave a mysterious note.
Yeah,
with the bar lady who's probably gonna chuck it in the bin and not actually pass it on. Yeah, or put it in a safe place and forget about it.
Yeah. Oh, and the whole, like the bartender catches him, he's broken up upstairs, and then she says, you have to go away. It's like a dangerous place here. They're like, what the fuck?
The owner's dangerous.
How do you know that he's not dangerous? He just broken in upstairs.
Yeah.
You could have a knife and everything. You're going to confront him to tell him. You're going to confront him as he's going out to tell him to get out.
Yeah.
What's the point in that? She's literally waiting at the bottom of the stairs on his way out to tell him to get out.
Yeah. Yeah, it was that whole thing where it's like, I don't know, like the misdirections just were more interesting than the actual reality. But is that okay?
Yeah.
Because like it was like that whole thing about Pete and like driving the daughter home. There was this whole thing about don't get in a car with other people who are drunk, because drink driving is really bad. So I thought at one point he was going to be the person who'd run the cops' boyfriend over.
Yeah,
because it would make sense. It was a hit and run, and she's after him, and like that's why she's taking photos of him from afar. But no, it's just my dad. Yeah. I'm just taking photos of my dad.
And now we're a team,
like afar, and it felt like, you know, it would have made more sense to like for us to think that she was that. It was going to be like something weird, like he was her and it just I don't know. It was just something weird about the misdirections that didn't land for me.
I'm really grateful for the level of actors that are in this show, because if they weren't this level, then I think we wouldn't have got through the show.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. And that's That's another positive there. We're on to 2.
Yeah, especially
maybe 3.
2.5.
compelling, good actors, and maybe the people. I suppose we've just repeated the point, because the point about that family that's quite good is that they are the best actors at interacting. Yeah, so
especially the best friend Mark Warren. I think even though he wasn't that well written, he was allowed to act in this movie in some of the scenes. And I thought and I always enjoyed. Do you know how sometimes you don't really care if it's a good or bad show you're watching, if in terms of some actors, and I enjoyed seeing Mark Warren on screen.
Yeah,
I've not seen something where I thought I can't. I know he just makes it watchable.
Yeah. To be fair, Dexter, Tom Delaney, Michael does a good job apart from the accent. Yeah. Does he? Or does he?
Don't know. Well, I don't really, actually. Because I don't believe, because I thought it was poorly written at the beginning, and the foundation between their relationship.
Yeah.
And I just don't really see that love between either daughters.
Yeah.
And I believe we were told more about the connection he has with his wife rather than showing it. I know he keeps seeing her everywhere. She's just standing there in the middle of the street, just doing nothing. And he's just watching on and smiling at random people, and I'll just
I mean, maybe we're sort of clutching at straws a little bit now.
Yeah,
I mean, with me and I don't know.
Well, well, basically we're saying
I mean, if you can get past the accent, the British accent, if you want something that's sort of compelling, entertaining, you probably do all right. Yeah. But if on the other hand, if you don't want to watch something that you think was written and directed by a student or a young person who's gone, "Hey Dad, I want to make a TV series." Yeah. Okay, son, here's a load of money to go off and do
it. He's a surprise though, because
that's what it felt like.
Well, the creator was a part of Tell No One, which I've not seen.
Oh, is this the really Harlan Coben?
Yeah.
Well, he's actually a writer. So I think that list on IMDb are all the books that have been converted.
Okay.
So I don't know who was actually behind the conversion. Maybe we probably should have done a bit more research.
Yeah, we probably did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, shall we move on?
Yeah.
I feel like
happy. Visually, every now and again, actually, this show was actually pretty alright. But it's not consistent. There's some scenes which actually look really stunning, but because they stick out so much, it's only a couple of scenes. It's not like the whole show looks great. So that's
okay.
Number 3.5 compliments. So
we're trying to rack them up. Yeah. We're just trying to prove our point, our premise for this show. We're just trying to prove that, just so we can still say there's no such thing as a bad movie or TV show.
But if there was, this would be one.
Well, it'd be close. I think this has given that theory a good run for its money.
Yeah. Do you know how you need to say you don't want to say 10 or 0 because you don't know the worst thing, you don't know the best thing. This is edging close to it. Close to making the parameters.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So right, next week.
Happy. Yeah.
Hopefully we'll be happier.
Happy with the podcast. Happy with everything.
Happy. I'm just going to keep saying happy.
I've got no idea what it's about. And all I've heard is good buzz.
What?
Good buzz.
Oh, good buzz. Yeah. I thought you said goose buzz. I was like, what's that?
All I've heard is good buzz. Yeah. Yeah, I've heard good buzz about the show. So
okay,
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, so it's on Netflix.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's called Happy. He's an assassin, an assassin or a retired assassin.
No idea.
I think that's it. Something along those lines. And then the
poster doesn't help you either.
Starts to see the imaginary friend of somebody who's died. which is like a unicorn or something, like a cartoon unicorn.
Damn.
Or something. It's like the premise does sound weird. Have you got these?
Yeah,
and can you read it out?
There's also a film called Happy on there as well. A boozy ex-cop turns to hitman, thinks he's losing his marbles when a cartoon unicorn only he can see urges him to rescue a girl kidnapped by Santa. Netflix don't have any full stops, which is why I found this so confusing to read.
Yeah, so he is a hitman, so that's where I got the assassin thing from. So he thinks he's going crazy. We've got a cartoon unicorn, and he's got to go find a girl kidnapped by Santa.
There should be a full stop in that, right?
Yeah, no. Maybe some punctuation in there somewhere. Yeah, definitely some punctuation lacking. But hey, Netflix, don't be scarred by that.
There's
scathing review from Screen Views there about your spelling punctuation. No, spelling's fine.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to read it off like in the podcast. I'm trying to finish off a sentence, but
it keeps going.
Yeah,
it just keeps going. So I think the thing I mean my sort of thoughts on this show is that I imagine it's going to be quite pulpy in terms of genre, so I think it's not really going to fit into anything.
Yeah,
so I'm guessing that there's going to be some comedy in there, maybe a bit of drama, a bit of like action, a bit of like all mashed together into to a weird show. It sounds
8 episodes as well, so
nice
comfortable.
Premise is quite surreal.
Yeah. Oh,
have you just thought of another positive for Safe?
No,
it doesn't go on for too many episodes.
Yeah, no, I think it should be. I think it was a 10-episode series, was it?
It was 8 or 10.
Yeah, it should be.
I thought it was 8.
Should have been 4 or 5.
Yeah.
The amount of like misdirects, just you could have cut it in half, and that would have been saved me a lot of time anyway. If I was watching it. Yeah, but yeah. All right, I think that might be all for now.
I think so. Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing what this happy show is about.
We're happy, and we'll try and
hopefully
find out what the building was situated in our cinemas.
Yeah, hopefully we can get back on the films.
Yeah,
soon.
Yeah, and we'll give you an update on our next podcast, which might be the film one. So you're there.
So we'll talk about. Well, I mean, we'll talk about
We'll have a good on moment about the building work when on that podcast. But and also different. Think about different things which maybe irritate us with cinema, and
I mean, we also I suppose and we can maybe try and remember anything else about Safe that annoyed us, but without giving too many spoilers away.
No,
but I don't think my opinion is going to change. Oddly compelling, and
what I like to do is listen to other reviews. Like I say, when I talk with you, I'm remembering lots of stuff, and like sometimes when I hear different reviews, I think, I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that. So I'll find out the general reaction of other people and see if it does change my view of it, and sort of like does sort of like. Yeah, I don't think I'll watch any of it again. Actually, I might watch the first episode, a bit of the first episode, to find out about his accent. And now that I definitely know it's not British, I can.
Just listen out for those turns of phrases that are like
it's just
really bad.
Yeah, it's a shame because it's almost there.
Yeah,
I've heard a lot worse.
Yeah. So I think that people might listen to this and think, actually, I want to go watch that show now because it sounds so bad that it's actually worth a watch. In some ways it is. It's worth like having that as a reference point. I
mean, I honestly I stick to my guns when I say it's a really good cleaning up thing if you got the Hoover on. Because when I'm trying to watch something, I need to Hoover. I'll stick with the volume really loud, but I can't really hear it, and then I have to stop the Hoover and I have to rewind, and I realise I need to Hoover this bit over here, and it's just really annoying, especially when I'm engaged. So if I don't really care that much, and it's just there,
Yeah.
then this one's sort of the perfect film for
Put
it.
that on the advert.
Yeah, damn
Hey
right.
guys, watch this show whilst you're hoovering.
Yeah, damn right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not a thing.
It should be a thing. It's like, yeah. My recommendation, I'm going to tell you exactly why I would watch this. I would watch this if I was spring cleaning.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
all right. Should we wrap it up there?
Yeah, we'll wrap it up there. And hope you have a good evening.
Or day, or night, or whenever you're listening to this.
Yeah, and
check out old episodes. We can say that now because we've got loads of episodes.
Running for a while now, yeah. So 2 months. So
yeah,
nearly 3 months.
Flying by,
actually.
Yeah,
it's good too. We've only got 2 monthly roundups, and we're getting close to the 3rd monthly roundup.
Yeah,
so,
really close.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
Well, we'll speak to
see you soon.
And peace out.
Bye.
Bye.